Hey everyone, we're back for another week of exciting rehearsals. This week we will find out what is going on with the WGIcon. We're here with some presenters and spectators. We'll also find out what made Trish say,
oh my God, we're not going to get this done now. Oh my God, we're going to get off to, oh my God. But to her, I was going, all right.
And why Ashlee said,
it's like freaking wads of dirty Q-tips on the end sleeves, flagpoles, tape, around tape.
all that and more. So get out there on the field and we'll see you back on the sidelines for this week's episode of On a Water Break.
8 off the mat and go. Welcome to On a Water Break, the podcast where we talk everything marching arts.
Everyone, bring it in.
It's time for a water break.
All right, welcome back to another episode, season 2 of On a Water Break. This is the podcast where we talk about everything you and your friends are talking about at rehearsal on a water break. I'm Nicole Younger. This week, we're looking inside WGIcon. This is the third year, I think, of WGIcon, and this year it was held in San Francisco. But before we get into all of that, we're going to see who's on the sidelines this week. Let's see, Trish, what's going on?
Everyone. No, not much. How are you guys doing?
Doing well. So has your band gone out for their first competition yet?
Saturday night. Yep.
Right. That is going to be so hype for you all because
I know
it's your home show and first show, right?
I know. Yep.
Oh,
yep.
So cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I will send you all of the good vibes for Saturday.
Thank you.
Good skills to all your kids.
Thank you.
All right. And Ashlee, I feel like we haven't seen you in ages.
It's been a couple months. It's been very busy in band land, baton land, school, work land, everything.
Everything land?
Everything. Ashlee land has been very busy.
Oh my goodness. Well, I remember the last time we talked and we did the podcast about all the twirlers and how hard they go. Like, I'm so glad that your season's over with that.
Yep.
Just for your mental health sake, anyway.
Me too.
Oh my goodness. So we have 2 guest clinicians with us this week. We also have Joey. Joey's going to join us a little later. He is late to rehearsal. Okay, so he better have Starbucks.
He's bringing that Starbucks.
But we have 2 guest clinicians this week. We wanted to give a presenter perspective and also a spectator perspective. So our first guest clinician, this is the first appearance on the On a Water Break, but no stranger to all things percussion, and also serves as a council member with me for our marching counts. And also could run a master class in just being a very good Swiftie. Okay. Please let me welcome Tony Lymon. Hi, Tony.
Don't drag me into the Swiftie because, like, real Swifties would roast me right away. I'm more of a, I'm Swiftie adjacent, I guess you could say.
You've got a community behind you, Tony.
Awesome.
And our second guest is first appearance on as well on a Water Break, a marching arts enthusiast, and we'll find out a little bit more. But also attended WGIcon as a spectator. We have Jara Clark.
Hi, Sarah. Just like Sarah, good day. It's nice to meet you guys. Everybody, hello.
Jara, thank you so much for coming. So we're going to do something with both of you that we do with all of our guest clinicians that come in. I'm going to go ahead and start with Tony first. So this is what we call our 30. This is our 32 count life story. So what we'll do is we'll give you 8 off the Met, and then you're in, and we hope you finish.
All right. Well.
All right.
All right, my name is Tony Lymon. I was born in Greenwood, Mississippi, and I graduated from Greenwood High School. Went to the University of Southern Mississippi as a percussion major. There, I tried out for the Star of Indiana Drum and Bugle Corps. I was in the front ensemble 91, 92, and 93. Had a great time. Thought I was going to graduate and go to the Boston Symphony Orchestra. Started a band that went on tour, got a record deal. met a guy named Rick Beato when I was there as our producer. He taught me a lot of things about audio, and then I wound up doing audio and pageantry, and here I am.
Yeah, very good. I know that we'll give you more to finish, but I always, when it gets to the end, I start to get a little anxious myself. But I never knew about that recording deal.
Yeah, we that was my former life.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we toured for 8 years and actually played at Woodstock 99 and all that stuff. Yeah. Did the things.
So
go ahead.
It's funny because when you said that, though, you said you played at Woodstock 99. I aged out of drum corps in 99 at the Patriots in upstate New York. So we saw a lot of things on the side of the road.
Yeah.
I was 1 year old.
Awesome. Awesome. I was hoping that I would get a reminder of how elderly I am.
I was a sophomore in high school, so we're all at different places. I love that.
Yes. Keep them coming.
Right.
My parents weren't married yet.
Oh, wow. And Jara, so I know that we are basically just meeting for the first time too right now. And Jara is a really good friend of Susie, who is always on the podcast. So we're just going to jump into your 32 count life story, and then we'll find out more about you on the way. How about that?
All right. All right, my name is Jara Clark. I'm from Oklahoma. I graduated from Union High School in 2002. I've worked at Union, Sapulpa, Jinx is where I spent most of my time. I've been in the color guard world for over 20 years. Spent the last 11 years building Jinx color guard and winter guard program up to be the competitive awesomeness that it is. And then I stepped down and let my assistant take over. Now I'm a certified Pilates instructor, so I get to still move bodies and take care of bodies, but in a different way. I also work with an independent guard here in town called Zephyrus, and then I'm a guard coordinator for groups around the state and close to us. So I still choreograph and design and all that stuff. So, I could say more, but my time is up.
So good. So really quick though, you said something that kind of like sparked an interest in Jinx color guard. It's is that a high school color guard?
Yes, it's a high school here in town, Jinx High School, Jinx Public Schools. They have a competitive marching band, competitive winter program. When I got there 11, I think it was 12 years ago now, but the guard was pretty small, they were competitive, but, not placing as well as they wanted. And so we built that program up to be really competitive. They competed at World Championships, made semifinals my last year there. One of my joys, an honor to have built that program to what it is, and I still go watch them and cheer them on, and I love that program. So
perfect. I do remember going to BOA and seeing Jinx. This was years ago, but I do remember them like leaving an impression on me. So good program, very good program. I love it. Okay, so hello, Joey. Did you bring Starbucks?
I did not. I didn't even bring. I brought a Coke. I brought some Joey water. And this podcast brought to you by Coca-Cola.
Is that what you call Coke? Is Joey water? That's
what the kids call it. We have a thing called 2 Liter Friday where they try to force me to drink 2 liters of soda every Friday rehearsal. So I if you're asking, I have it. I'm working on it. I get it.
I love it, man. I love it.
Well,
tackling fuel.
Well, phew. I'm glad we have everyone here for rehearsal now. I'll make sure that both Tony and Jara get some water before they head back out to the field. So we've got to take a look at that ballad, but then we'll be right back into what's happening for WGIcon 2024 right after this.
Hey, this is Christine Ream.
And Chris Green.
Guard Closet was founded as a consignment business in 2000. Since then, it has grown to include winter guard, band, percussion, and other genres.
We can help you with custom flag and costuming designs.
Our consignment inventory has plenty of great looks for your color guard, drumline, and marching band.
Pay it forward. When you purchase consignment, you help other programs. Last year, we sold over 400 sets of consignments and returned over $125,000 in payments to our consigners for their sales.
Additionally, Guard Closet offers custom and pre-designed costumes, flags, floors, and formal wear, full or partial show writing, educational programming, and other services.
Max out your rehearsal time and set up a microsite for easy student ordering for shoes, gloves, and other equipment.
The Guard Closet team is here to help you get everything you want and need for your season. Check us out at guardcloset.com and follow us on social media.
All right, and we are back. So WGIcon has been going on since 2019, offering sessions in every category of color guard, percussion, wind, and management. I think color guard had about 9 sessions. Percussion had about the same. We also had the winds, who had about 5, and then the management sessions had a couple of different ones as well. They also had 2 keynote speakers, Deanna Marglesi and also Shirley Doherty. So we have 2 of the presenters here with us, Joey and Tony. I'm going to go into Tony first. Tony, what was the name of the session that you did?
Mine was called Zero to Hero, Pageantry Design for the Left Behind.
And can you give us just a little synopsis of like what you presented and what people got, or hopefully what people got from your session?
Well, something I'm very passionate about is, as I travel around the country and design and work with several bands, I see kind of a divide of the bands who are kind of in the know and have all of the resources or most of the resources, or they're in an area where, there's a competitive domain where, there are a lot of competitive groups in that area. They get to see all of the things all of the time because of their culture and the community. But then there's the other 99% of the bands across the country that see these things happening, or they go to a DCI show or a WGI show and they see these great groups that are out there and they want the same things for their band, but they're not in the know. They don't quite have the resources to, bring people in, or they want those same things. So I've been very passionate in my career to reach out to those bands and those communities to give them a helping hand and kind of bring them into going from seeing something that they like to creating something that they love. And thank you. I'll be here all week. But yeah, that's the thing that I tried to get across, is to take them behind the scenes of the design process. And I just kind of aggregated some of those processes based on the design rooms that I have been in. And a lot of things that, we on this podcast think are common knowledge, or, we've forgotten that when we learned it, and it becomes comprehensive knowledge. The other 99% may have never experienced that before, and may have never understood how that process of how do you go from seeing that thing to how do you adapt it for what you have in your band program. So that's basically what it was. And again, I'm very passionate about that.
It's very, very nice. I know that just looking at this from someone on the outside, there's lots of conversations happening about, like, I guess exactly what you were talking about, like what's being gate kept and what's not, and how can the younger designers and choreographers learn, from, some of the people that are here right now doing that job. There's
Right.
always going to be another generation, but just how do they get there?
Right.
And it does seem like, what is it? Proximity to
Yes.
Proximity to that information or those people. So
well, I can speak to this because I came from that. I came from I was in a small band program when I grew up in the Mississippi Delta. And then when I taught at Petal High School, which is a small rural high school in South Mississippi. And so after being able to experience it on the other end of being a performer in some of the higher level groups, and then being able to be a part of teaching and designing for those groups, I wanted to know how do the kids in South Mississippi, or the kids who are in rural Minnesota or wherever they are, how do they get the same things that the other kids get? And I feel like there's a need for that information, and that's where I tend to live.
Yeah, I think there's a need for that. Like you said, you've done it in with percussion, and I've seen pedal, and what you've brought to that percussion group was unmatched. You can just tell that they got that information.
Thank you.
Yeah, first thing out. Especially if I'm looking at color guard and I can't stop looking at the drum line. But yes, you did an amazing job with pedal. But I have been in lots of talks, even yesterday, with young people coming up in WGI who are in percussion, who are in the winds groups and color guard. Like, how do they make that kind of thing happen? So future leaders are talking about it, which means the younger people are talking about it. So I'm sure that I guess you could say your love child right now, as far as that, that category or that topic is concerned, is definitely something that a lot of people are talking about. So I love that.
Would you mind sharing like your biggest, like what was the thing in the presentation that got people going, oh, did you have any moments in that during the presentation, or like did you see people like, writing down things at some point, like, oh, I guess that's a big thing that makes sense to the people in the room, or that makes sense to Tony Lymon, but how does Susie Q from South California know that? And did you see people writing anything down in your presentation?
I think the biggest aha moments I saw was the process of planning your effects and planning your moments. And one of the things that I like to preface that with is you need to know what it is you're trying to say before you start choosing the words. And I think what happens is we see all of these things that inspire us in drum corps, like, man, do you see how they tossed that? Or, man, that tenor break was awesome. Or the way that drill move went like that. We see all of those elements, but then what do they mean? A lot of those things were awesome because of the context that they fit in. So if you just go, I want to do that toss, it's like, well, that toss is, first of all, you don't have those performers. Second of all, a large part of it was what came before it and what came after it that made it be effective. So I kind of just broke down like, okay, well, we want to do a show about this. What is the takeaway? Like, when, let's say the show's done, how do we want the audience to feel? And what's the takeaway when they walk away from that show? Because that's ultimately what your show is going to be. Your show is going to be told to someone walking by the concession stand. Hey, did you see the show about the whatever? Oh, yeah, I saw that show. And that's it. And if you can make that interaction be something magical, then you've made an impact. So I start there. I start very macro, and then we start to drill down on the details. And the aha moments were just taking that lens, and as we start to focus into the minutia of it, to make sure that the integrity of that moment where two people pass stays intact as we start to build the show from outside to inside. Those are aha moments I think I saw.
That's perfect. I think that's a great way to bring new designers in, because obviously they have that creative lens, but I think it's that stacking it up. Like, how do I get from point A to point B? There are so many more new designers that need that. And
Tony, I expect you to talk more from like the sound aspect of it, because I know you're a lot into that too. I know you've done some great DCI work with that as well. And I mean, when you're talking about, these groups like, going to a DCI show and seeing that and hearing that and saying, I want that. How do you do that with the group? Like, how do you explain that to people that costs? I mean, I'll take my band, for example, my marching band in New Jersey. I'm obviously the guard person, so I don't, other than when it relates to designing the show, I don't really get too involved in that. But we went from, okay, we have a mixer a couple of years ago to nobody can forget the mixer, to now there's mics all over the field. The color guard has to be careful if there's mics all over the field, and there's a whole soundscape. And today I was at rehearsal and they hit me with, so there's a pre-show now? And I'm like, they have pre-show now? How do we go from a couple of years ago, we have a little mix everybody walking around with, so now we have a pre-show? So how we get, but I know that the band director has invested thousands and thousands of dollars on taking us from where we were to where we are now with all these, the soundscape and the whole electronic. So your presentation must have been so fascinating because, I mean, what do you tell these people who are just starting out on a really low budget that you ain't gonna have the Blue Coat sound system? You're just not, So how do you start it small? How do you explain to them how to start it small?
Well, we try to get to what the essence of those moments are. And, why was that touching? Why did it grab you? It wasn't because they had the right compressor in that mixer cart and it was dialed to the right frequency, and it had the right amount of threshold on it, and that's what made everybody cry. No. It was what you were trying to say, and you were effective at pulling it off. So what I try to do is get them to the point where we look at the essence of how they're trying to affect the audience, and then we go find what they have to do that with.
Okay.
And I reference two moments. The two most talked about moments in pageantry had nothing to do with any money. One was a well-timed horns up in Santa Clara Vanguard in the Babylon show. Yes. People have been doing horns up since John Philip Sousa said, "Hey, everybody stand up. We're going to march down the street now." And they're like, "What? I thought we were just sitting down, And then they're like, "Yeah, no, you got to bring your horns up now." Okay, well, but that being well-timed in that show, everybody still talks about that. Number two left-hand isolated shots, whole notes in Broken City. Bop, bop. Whole UD arena went wild because the reason why it was effective is because of what happened before it, which was silent. And the audience, who's an educated audience, knows how very hard it is, first of all, to play a left-hand rim shot with traditional grip, and to do them with so much space in between without there being anything timing but your intuition. So that effect was essentially free. Those two effects were free. So we didn't have to go pay $250,000 for those effects. So I try to lead them to how we can be effective with what we have, and then we can build out from there. Then you start to realize it's not really about the costumes, not really about the sound system or the number of people in your band. Is what you set out to say and being effective in that way.
I love that too. I love that you said, you find what they have and you use that, because not everybody has thousands and thousands of dollars, but they can still be effective.
Most people don't.
Yeah. And those students, those programs, they deserve just as much awesomeness as the Blue Coats and Santa Clara. Those kids are working just as hard, So I love that you find what they have and you use what they have to make it great. That's awesome.
Because the myth is out there that it's stuff, because there's, you can see there's correlation, but not causation kind of thing. usually when you see something awesome, there is a lot of stuff, but that doesn't mean that the stuff is why it's awesome. So I try to break that mentality first.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we talk about it being like, hey, what do we have in the tool bag? All right, that's what we have to build the house. And so many people, well, we can add an electric hammer. It's like, no, we don't got money for the electric hammer. Why don't we just hammer nails in really well? Why don't we just play quarter notes really well?
Yeah. No. Well, that's a great segue over to you, Joey. I know that you also were a presenter this year, and you presented a session called It Takes a Village. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so my session was about building teams and building a community where, I live in Raleigh, North Carolina, and the marching arts is kind of prevalent there. We've got First Flight and CVP, Alchemy was around, Gold Drum Corps was around, but there really wasn't anything in terms of wins for about 6 years maybe. And so when I moved here 2 years ago, I was like, I'm going to start a wins group and I'm going to give some of these students an opportunity to keep performing past high school. The wins circuit is really big. We've got about 8 to 10 wins groups, which is in our circuit alone, which is pretty big. As I'm talking to other people, like some people are like, we're the only wins group in our circuit. And that's crazy. Knowing that like I teach 5 of the wins groups that compete at the circuit championships every April. So my presentation was about how that happens and how to continue that growth. And so we talked about investing in students, how to work together as a staff, and then how growing the community has kind of created the environment where students and even staff can feel supported and nurtured to achieve their fullest potential. And so we talked about, I've been teaching, I'll use Sydney Beasley as an example. I've been teaching Sydney Beasley since 2016. She graduated in 2020, I think it was 2020, might have been 2019. She went off and did some college. She said, I want to do marching band for a living, but I'm a bartender. And I go, bartending's past 7. Most band stuff is done at 6, so that's great timing. You just get done and you go, you serve up some knowledge and then you serve up some libations afterward. And so we really put Sydney under our wing, and then we have another kid named Matthew Coyle who's a little bit older, and we've kind of put him under his wing. And so we pushed him off to March Spirit. He marched cadets. He just aged out with the Blue Devils this past summer, which is incredible when you think there's a video that I used to send out to band directors of choreography, and he's in the back doing this until it's time to do the choreography, and then he hits the choreography. And I didn't know that it existed until a band director was like, hey, I want that kid's choreography. And I looked back there and I was like, oh, Matthew, what are you doing? Like, and that's just, 16-year-old Matthew being himself. And, we talk about what these 2 kids, now young adults, now young designers, the process of what it took to grow them and creating opportunities for them. So, if there wasn't a high school that they felt like they could have taught at, it probably would have been done. But because I work with so many groups, I was like, oh, Sydney can work here. Matthew can work here. Mr. Irwin's going to work over here. Sammer's now here, and now we brought him over here. So it was about finding opportunities for students and giving the opportunity to succeed, and then also to fail. And we can talk about that failure and how to not let that happen again, because we can't, teach everything. Like there's kind of like in the moment things. It's like, well, that would have just been like hey, let's just take a water break, reset as a staff, and then move on. And then the other thing that we talked about, so that was like the students, investing in our students. And we actually have a student, his name was Seth Benbow. He went and did the the Boston audio internship, and now he's on staff as an audio person. He's our audio guy here at the high school I'm working with, and he's doing an incredible job. So like Tony was saying, like threshold and gain and all this stuff, and he came back with all that knowledge and was saying stuff like that, and was like, well, we got to make sure we're compressing at this, and that these cables got to be here, there's got to be volts in this. And I was like, dude, I tell kids to point their feet. Like, I don't know what any of that means. Thank you. And he's like, this is the wrong mic. We need another mic. I go, oh, get the right mic. I don't know what any of that means. And so it's great to see that, but it's also important to invest in your staff and kind of know the hard conversations that we had in the presentation was knowing when it's time to let go of your staff. And so we talk about the 3 C's, which is chemistry, competence, and character. Are they a good enough person to be in front of your students? Do they have character? Do they competence? Are they saying the right thing, to your students? This is the embouchure, this is the hands, this is the throw, And then chemistry, are they feeding off of each other? And are you filling in each other's gaps of knowledge and teaching? And if you don't have that, that's kind of the one that you need the most. I feel like if the staff gels and is saying the same things and has the same vibes, you're going to have a successful group. The chemistry, the competence kind of comes with sending people off to WGIcon, to Midwest, to TMEA, to all these different things. And so we talked about that, and then we ended it with how we've kind of created this space where the high school feeds the independent group, which feeds the high school with new staff members, feeds the high school with new props because we're not using them anymore. And it's kind of just this big cycle of like, I help you, you help me, I help you, you help me. And now we've got kids expanding past our what's it called, our county, our school county, and they're in Wake County, they're in Johnson County, they're in Roanoke, they're all the way on the coast now teaching. And it's because we gave them opportunities to succeed and again to fail sometimes too.
I think that's really important that you say giving the opportunity to fail, because you learn the most from what you don't get right. Instead of giving all of the right answers, give them the wrong answers sometimes, because they have to experience what it's like.
To fail in that safe environment where they know they can come to you and learn from it. And okay, I did this incorrect. How would you do it in the future? Like they're in that space where they can learn from it. So that's really awesome, because we have to fail to learn and get better.
Absolutely.
I used to call my rehearsals failure labs. This is where you put on your lab coat and we're going to come here and we're going to fail.
I love that.
So that we can succeed in front of people.
It's the perfect time to do that. You want to get all those mistakes out, get all those errors out, figure out what doesn't work and what works, so that you can put what works in the tool belt and pull it out every contest day, every performance.
Awesome. Absolutely. We call that, I used to call it just a science fair experiment. We're doing a science fair experiment right now, so just hold your horses. I do want to go back into what you were talking about, like when it's time to let someone go. And reason being is because I've been around, I don't want to say in it, I've been around the simple fact of when someone is on staff and some people will just keep them there. You know what I mean? Because I think that it would be, or they think it's easier to keep them around than it is to get rid of them. And what it's actually doing is a disservice to your kids to keep them around when you know that there's nothing like fruitful coming out of that. So can you go into a little bit more detail?
Yeah. So let's see. How do I? No, we did it in the presentation. I could do it. So, I mean, there's tons of times where, there's a big personality on the staff and they really want to be the one in charge, but the answers or the information that's coming out is not leading to the successes that you're looking for, or maybe they're just hard to work with, or, maybe the character isn't there. They're saying things that you don't want to have said around your kids, or posting things that you don't want band parents to post. And, I think some of the band directors that I talked to and researching, they were like, well, they're just, they're the best in the area at this thing. And it's like, is that good enough for you though? Is that, I have this idea that if you create this space where people can feel successful and grow, there's always going to be somebody else to fill in your village. There's always another percussion director. There's always another winds director. There's always another person that wants to do color guard. Give them a shot. Give them an opportunity, because I think as we see, all the headlines of this band director did this band director did that, this independent ensemble director did this, that's where that comes from but they're so good, And
that is a culture that I do hear a lot about, but it's just like, and I think all of these come in hand, because while we're having this conversation, which is very important to have, because at some point you have to say, hey, what's the dynamic with my group? And you have someone, that is new, a new designer that's coming up who is fairly green, but really like
Passion.
the logistical wise of everything. Yeah, passion. You can't teach that. Like, it's like anytime I taught color guard, I was like, I can't teach you performance quality. Like that comes from you. But if you show me a little bit of it, I can at least push you in the right direction. With someone who's been around for a while and that stuff, has racked up some, bad publicity. Let's put it that way. But also it's just like, well, this is the way I do things. I don't want to change. It is easier to bring someone more in who is green, who is passionate, who really wants to do it and wants to learn to be better.
Yeah.
So I feel like all of these as well.
Yeah, and so talking to band directors, they're afraid of the unknown, and we all are. But I think these post-COVID students are very different, and we can't teach them like I was taught in 2011, as people were taught in 2001, as people were taught in the 90s, the 80s, the so and so. Those were different times, and these students are so smart and able to get things and you don't have to yell and scream at them. I literally can just go, hey, as we talk about the flexion of the ankle through the end count, you can think about blah blah blah, and they go, got it. It's no longer put your freaking feet back like it that doesn't, as at least the places that I teach at, that doesn't have any place anymore.
No.
Yeah.
And Nicole, you said it. You said some people just don't want to change. And I feel like this is the environment that you can't have that, and you can't have that mentality anymore. Like, you have to be able to change and be willing and want to change with the times, if you will, because our students demand it. We cannot teach them the same. And if you're still teaching the way you did 10 years ago, 8 years ago, 20 years ago, you're not reaching those kids. And so you have to be able to change. If you have a staff member on your staff that's not willing to change, not willing to move forward and talk about calmly how to point your foot instead of just yelling, point your foot.
Yes.
That's not really okay anymore. And I'm thankful that we've gotten to that point, but people have to be willing to make that change.
Yep. And the last thing that I said in that part of the presentation was, even though this person no longer has space in your village or doesn't like what's going on in your village, it doesn't take away from the fact that your village can offer somebody something else. A, but B, it also doesn't mean that they're not wrong. They maybe just don't fit in. Like, it does. We don't have to sit here and be like, you're wrong. Like, it can literally just be like, hey, it didn't work out. Let's just be adults. Go do your thing over there. I'll do my thing here. And things are fine. Strike does things way different than Pulse does. All these groups have different ways of doing things. It doesn't make it right or wrong, but maybe it just doesn't fit, and that's okay too. Everybody can find their village and find a home, and it's just give them the chance to go find home. This isn't home. Exactly. Go find it.
Oh, I love that. I'm very big on find your tribe. Very big on find your tribe. It's out there. It's there. You just got to find it. I do want to pivot, and I do want to say thank you to Tony and Joey for bringing a subject that you're so passionate about to WGIcon, because there are lots of people who are educators who come in to get that knowledge. They are basically feeding from your tree. And so this is where we have Jara on here. Jara. And Jara, you went as a spectator, correct?
I did. Mm-hmm.
Is this your first time at WGI or no?
Yes, this was our first time to attend WGIcon. My husband and I both went. We work with the Winter Guard here and our independent guard here, but we both went together for the first time. We've been to, if you've heard of Summer Symposium before, we've been to that a few times and really loved it, but wanted something. WGIcon's obviously geared more for just winter activities, whether it's Winter Guard, percussion, or winds. It's geared just for that. So we wanted to go see what it was, see if we liked it, and then we loved it. We're hopeful to go back next year. There were so many classes. The only thing was I wanted to split myself in half so I could take multiple classes. I couldn't do that. So sometimes my husband would go to one and I'd go to another one. But there were still some that we missed that we just didn't have the time to take. So, but yeah, we really enjoyed it.
Walk me through it. Like, what is it that you first see, like, when you get into WGIcon? Because I know it's all at the hotel, right?
It was at the hotel. We went a few days early and took a little vacation beforehand. So we got to go, we went to Alcatraz and the Muir Woods and had a little fun before we went to WGIcon. And then by the time we got to WGIcon, we were ready to sit and learn. So that was really nice. But you get there, the hotel was so nice. It was one of the Marriott's there in San Francisco, and it was really well located too. There was food really close to us. So, WGI, they did a great job of where they located it. So that was really cool. And then you go downstairs, all of the classes are in their convention center. They had conference rooms downstairs. So everything's really close together, and you can see where each class is offered, and you kind of pick your schedule basically on what classes you want to offer. Every class was either 45 minutes to an hour, and you get that schedule. Maybe it was a few weeks before, and me being my type A crazy personality, of course, I sat down and figured out my schedule and made my own itinerary on where I was going to go. And some people just showed up and went to classes, and that's fine, but I cannot function that way. So I made myself a little schedule. But you can pick any class that you want to go to, and you're not committed to it. If I would have decided, I want to do this, and then the day of, I want to do this instead. It's not like you have to stick with what you chose. Nobody knows what you're choosing. You just kind of pick what classes you want to go to. And you could in most of the classes you could record or audio record. So we did that. Some were limited, obviously, for copyright, but a lot of stuff we got to record, and I took a lot of notes and stuff. But just picking the classes really that are geared more for what you needed or what you wanted to focus on, and getting to meet so many different people, because like being from Oklahoma, we have competitive guards and bands and percussion groups here. We don't have any WINS programs to my knowledge, which is Joey. Joey was saying that we don't have any yet. And I'm like, let's get some WINS programs. Anyways,
hey, Oklahoma people, y'all need to start a WINS group, okay? Just putting it out there.
We're trying.
Decorous
But getting
WINS.
to meet other people, in the activity, meeting people that we only see at WGI at Worlds, or we only see in Texas. And so getting to hear other people's thoughts and meeting those people and those connections were really cool. So, yeah.
Let me ask you about this. And so you took some sessions. What session did you come away with more information, do you think? Or that you had a really good time sitting in that session?
I have my notes pulled up because I am clearly a very organized person. So I pull notes up and make a schedule for the WGIcon for myself. But looking through my notes, trying to figure out what my favorite class was, because I really did like so many of them. Every class, Shirley did two. I always pronounce her last name wrong. I don't want to say it wrong. Shirley Doherty, is that correct? Doherty. She did a class on when excitement becomes anxiety, conquering the performance roller coaster. And then on the last day, she also did another one. She's more on the mental health and physical mental well-being of the members, which I would say is my focus, as I do have a degree in psychology, so I tend to lean towards that. The last day, she did one on building mental well-being in today's performers. And both of those classes were, one, extremely eye-opening. My husband was blown away with some of the statistics she provided. I don't want to give you the numbers because I don't have them written down. I don't want to give false numbers. But the amount of students that are dealing with mental health issues or any kind of mental health is just skyrocketed since 2020. And so I think we all are aware of that, working in the marching arts, but like seeing the numbers and actually like talking about it with other people, and it was really eye-opening to hear it, and getting information on how to help those performers. Shirley, in one of the classes that stood out the most to me was she kind of didn't trick us, but gave us performers anxiety, if you will. I don't know. I assume everybody on this call or on this podcast has been a performer at least one point in our life, but you might not remember that performer's anxiety as much. And she did a really cool activity where she had to stand up, had to mentally count backwards, sit down when you got like by twos, some crazy like complicated thing. And it was hard, and I was so embarrassed, and I could feel my heart rate. It was performance anxiety because you were going to have to sit down and people were going to see you. And so she literally brought all of us into that. This is what your kids are going through every Saturday, every Friday night. And it's like, oh God, that is a lot. And I'm 40 years old. Those kids are 15, 16, 17, 18, 20 years old. It's hard. And on top of, they were taking social interactions away for 2 years or a year and a half. That changes all of that. So her classes were incredible on, one, giving you the information on what they're going through, and two, kind of ways to help them navigate. One of the things that I'm going to start implementing in our winter rehearsals is checking in with yourself while we stretch. Because a lot of times we stretch our members out and we're talking about the counts and the foot and the arm and well, that's great. That's a perfect time also to, all right, let's take this song to just lay, breathe, stretch, check in with your body. How does your elbow feel? Were you injured yesterday? How's that knee? How's your mind today? Just how are you feeling today? That sounds sometimes so silly and like basic, but we're asking them to do so much stuff now. Sometimes we take the brain and themselves out of it, and that's really important to still focus on, especially after COVID. Those kids need that. So anyways, I feel like I've rambled. I apologize.
No.
We're so cool and so important with taking care of their mental well-being, which I think has really come to the forefront since COVID, which I'm so thankful for. It should have been there before, but it just wasn't as much focus.
They were very like, here's the show. It's got to be done on this day, and it's got to be.
We got to finish. We got to do this. We got to be so and so. We got to score this.
Right. There was no, hey, did you, I don't know, take a minute and breathe. I'm a huge mental health advocate. All the things that Shirley Doherty ever talks about. And if you haven't gotten her book, get her book.
I have it in my Amazon cart. I want it. She had it for sale, but I was like, I don't want to get it yet. So I'm going to get it eventually. But after learning from her, I'm like, okay, I'm going to have to read this book now. Because she does have that psychology background, and it is important. And I, like I said, I love that it's now coming more to the forefront since COVID has happened.
A lot of the younger, because this is something that we talk about with the Future Leaders program too. A lot of those kids are talking about mental health within, their peers, because they're still marching, they're still performing. So they talk about how that's affecting them or their peers, and how they need to, deal with that, and how they need to, get on the other side of it or help. So that is a huge thing for everyone right now. Now, was that the session that you loved the most and that you got the most out of?
You're gonna make me pick. You're gonna pick one.
Which one was the best one?
The best one? Oh no, I can't. I don't know if I can pick a best. Sure, probably Shirley's. Yes, or we did one also.
That's great. Well, I'm glad that you went out and had that good time, and were able to bring home information that you can implement to your groups. Stuff that was information that was passionate to you. Same thing with Tony and Joey as well.
Yeah.
Jara, who was one person that you were like starstruck by to like meet in person? Because I'm going to tell you right now, I've always been the biggest Michael Shapiro fan, and one year he wished me happy birthday on Facebook, and it was like my favorite baseball player wished me a happy birthday.
Okay,
like for real.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I get to go a little fangirl. I can do that.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. I will fangirl. So Heather Graham is my woo. I got to see her. I've always I met her a few years ago. I'm sure she doesn't remember, but of course I remember. I met her after DCI, in the parking lot at Indy. Saw her and was like, I've always wanted to meet you. Kind of met her there and got to talk to her. But then I've always wanted to be around her while she's teaching or cleaning, just because even though I feel like I'm good at it, she's obviously very, very good at it. And I look up to her so much. Her programs are incredible. She's so smart and just, oh God, her brain. So seeing her, she did I forget what the session was called, but she had 3 members from a group from Stanford. Yes, I Squared. Thank you. I was going to say I Spice, but I was like, that's not right. I Squared. She had some members from I Squared that she taught Rifle Part 2. I think she only had like 24 hours to do it. And just watching her work with them and put it together, and just the words while she was cleaning and talking through was just I could have watched her forever. So I was so thankful to one, see her, be in the same presence of her, and two, finally get to see her teach and learn from her while she was teaching. That was awesome. So Heather Graham, woo!
I feel like I could like buy a color guard subscription plan of just watching other people teach.
Yes,
I feel like
I
that would be
love
such a
it.
good show.
I'll just put me on a fly on the wall in your rehearsal so I can eat popcorn and watch. Not to pick it apart, because I love watching how other people teach, how other people run. Like, you can always learn things from how people do their rehearsals.
Yeah.
See, that is that color guard pedagogy that we can't learn in college. You know,
Yeah.
That's what we pick up from each person. Osmosis is really
Yeah.
This episode is brought to us by Patreon, actually.
All right. Well, we've got to get back out onto the field and learn this pre-show, but we'll be right back.
It's Jeremy, your producer from On a Water Break, and here are your announcements coming from the box. While you're enjoying this amazing episode, don't forget our other episodes, including the one about Peggy Twiggs, the one where we go behind the scenes of the Olympics and the marching arts. We check out the first female drummers from Crossmen. We also have amazing special features, including At Step Off with Jack Goudreau, Lost in Translation with Cynthia Bernard, and Behind the Lens with Chris Marr and Russell Tanakaya. Don't forget our other bonus feature, On a Water Break With, where we explore individuals or small groups. We talk to people like Eric Carr, Forte Athletics, and comedian Tony Deo. If you know of a story, or you know of someone that would make a great story, email us at onawaterbreakpodcast@gmail.com. Okay, field staff, take it away.
All right, we're getting into our next segment of what I like to call, What Are We Doing?
What are we doing?
What are we doing?
All right, so we're doing What Are We Doing? And I'm going to be very random when I pick people for this. So I'm just going to say, hey, if you're new here, you're going first. Sorry. Tony, what are we doing?
Is this is where something that grinds my gears? Is that what this is?
That is it. Mm-hmm.
What when we take our competitive success and tie it to our self-worth, and then we start to become lesser versions of ourselves for our students, and we preach to our students how, we're here because we want to become, great. We want to build culture. We want to be better at what we do, and that the numbers don't mean anything. It's just a judge's opinion. But then we feel like if our competitive success as designers or instructors or administrators of this activity, that we are lesser than, and I've seen people won't leave their houses. I've been one of them, where I thought we were going to do great and then it didn't, and I'm depressed and I think that I'm worthless. And it's just we've got to end that culture immediately.
I agree with you. Definitely agree with you. There's been much of times like when I've ever came home from a weekend and it's just like during the week leading up to it, you're like, yeah, we got it. And then you go in and it's just like, well, maybe we don't got it.
It's so hard. Yeah. It's so hard.
Because like Shuri did talk about a lot of like, hey, this is what your kids are feeling. I would like to do a little bit more as far as like the instructors. Like we have to keep them from experiencing that, but who's keeping us from experiencing what Tony was saying?
I was just thinking about that when we were talking about the performance mental health thing. I was like, well, what about me? Not to be self-centered, but
well, you can't give anybody anything out of your cup.
Right. If my cup is empty and I'm dumping it in my high school and I'm dumping it in the college and I'm dumping it at work, I got no place to dump.
I feel you there. And Tony, that was a great thing to bring up too. Jara. Got it.
You got it. So this could be anything that just in the marching arts?
Yes.
Okay, I'm going to change mine. I had one picked out, but I have a different one because I'm sure we could all pick multiple. Mine would be, it goes back to the mental health and well-being of our performers, and it goes into the stress and anxiety of the staff or the director. It frustrates me and I understand why it happens, and I will say I know I've done it before, and I am really trying to keep myself in check and pay attention to it as I'm getting older and better at this activity, trying to be more mindful of paying attention to staff's attitude and energy on the way to warm up, during warm up, and immediately after the show. Those times are so stressful. Yes, for us. I don't want to say it's more stressful for staff than kids or more stressful for kids than staff. The students or the members and the staff both have stress on contest days through the roof for different reasons, very valid reasons. But that doesn't mean that as a staff or as a staff person on contest day, I get to stress out. Come on, guys, we're not ready. Hurry, we're late for warm up. We got to do this. We got to be there. That tone already, those members are not going to perform the way that they deserve. They're not going to enjoy that performance the way they deserve to enjoy it. So it really comes down to being the adult, and taking your emotions, taking a breath, and realizing that we are literally here for those students or for those members. That our job is them. Yes, I think it also comes back to like we're creating art. It's our artwork. It's our painting. It's our song. It's our form of art. And so we want it to be great. We want it to be perfect. We want it to be amazing. And we put the pressure for that is on the members. And so that comes out sometimes in not the best way. And so just being mindful of how we respond, how staff responds on contest days. I know myself now well enough to know that like sometimes I can feel that my energy is not the one. And I'll tell one of my staff, hey, I'm too anxious right now. I'm too much. So I'm just going to stay quiet in this warm up. I'm going to stand back. I'm not mad. I'll even sometimes tell the members, hey guys, I am not mad at you. I'm not frustrated. I'm just a little nervous today. So I'm going to stay quiet and just let you guys do your thing. I'd rather be honest and tell them that than like fly off the handle. Ah, why are you dropping that? That's just my anxiety coming out. That kid just had a moment, right? So being in control of our own anxiety on contest days.
Yeah, love it.
Jara, I think something that you said is very important that kids really appreciate when their instructors show a bit of humanity and show that they experience the same things that they do. And that the only reason why they are their leader is because they are students as well. As instructors, as designers, administrators, we're still students. We're just further along in the educational process. And that's why we're your leader. And when they see that you have those same feelings, it justifies those feelings and it gives them a model of how you can control it and how you can use it to your advantage and ultimately be someone that someone else looks up to. So I think that was very important.
Yeah. I think it's also valid. I think both sets of feelings are really valid too. I think it's how you handle it. I had an experience today at rehearsal. I really wanted. We only had a couple of more sets to do with the closer, and I really wanted to get them done today because we have rehearsal Wednesday night, a football game Friday, and our first show on Saturday. So I wanted them to really cram, even though we were kind of cramming it in, really feel, Wednesday, get comfortable with it. Friday night, get comfortable. Saturday, go out there. What happens? And I'm trying to get all this stuff done. I turn around. Trish, can I get ice? Goose egg on the forehead. Like this. And I said, okay, let's go to the trainer. Let's go. But in my head, I'm going, now I can't finish it. Now I'm not going to have time. Now she's not going to know it because she's going to go home. And, and like she's going to be the trainer. But I'm going, okay, all right, okay. So, you have to just kind of keep yourself in check a little bit too. Because the me that I will always be and never will stop being was going, oh my God, we're not going to get this done now. Oh my God, we're going to get off time. Oh my God. But to her, I was going, all right, it's okay. We got this. It's all right.
It's fine.
okay.
It'll all work out.
We're going to call your mom. Call your mom right now. Tell her we're at the trainer. You're going to come there. We're going to get you ice. But in my head, I'm going, oh my God. Now she's going to go home. She's not going to know this work. But, you know, so you just got to kind of keep yourself in check. But both sets of feelings are valid. They really are.
But we're teaching them, like, we're not just teaching them flags, rifle, saber, dance. We're teaching them also how to handle that anxiety, how to handle that pressure, how to handle
exactly
when I get a goose egg on my head and I am hurt and now I still have to learn. Like we are the ones that have to be the calm, steady force that's showing them how to do all these things, including how to handle the stress.
Yeah.
And I think it's great that you have like you're saying, you can take a step back and warm up, you know, and we know as directors how much we want a stronghold of that time. We go, no, we like this has to, and that you have a supportive team to be able to go, hey guys, I'm not 100%.
Yeah,
you guys take
cool.
this, and the trust that you have in your staff, I think is so cool. And that's probably why the group is so successful, is that everybody can kind of fill in those gaps. That's awesome.
It comes down to training members too. We got to train them for contest day, train them for warm up. You know, they're not going through warm up for the first time. They already know what they're going to do in warm up. So really, we're just there to, hey, that was a little too high. Hey, take a breath. So warm up's really just their time. We hit a few things, but we've trained them to kind of do their own warm up, if you will. So we are able to kind of step back and let them lead their own, do what they need in that time.
That's awesome.
Ashlee, what are we doing?
So this week we started like taping our new show flags because we have our first show on Saturday, and we're like, okay, everyone remembers how to tape a flag. The members say, yes, I do. I'm like, okay, great. They in fact do not. So what are we doing?
I'm so glad I'm not the only one who has dealt with that, Ashlee. I thought I was teaching bad or something.
Oh my gosh.
Preach on it, girl. Go.
I'm like, okay, we're gonna like keep our equipment like maintenance. If tape comes undone, we're gonna untape it and then we're gonna retape it. It's like freaking wads of dirty Q-tips on the end sleeves, flagpoles, tape around tape around tape. And I took all the flagpoles home. They're in my living room right now. I'm retaping everything. I'm like, no one is touching anything. This is how it's going to be. You're going to keep it this way. Yeah.
I feel you.
I wish I
feel you.
Yeah.
I mean,
I wish I had this ball.
Been there, because it's just like, oh, well, I want it done the right way. Okay, I'll do it one time. I only want to do it one time, and that's it. Trish, what are we doing?
Okay, what was I doing? So Saturday I had rehearsal from 10 to 4, and it's probably my last free Saturday night for a while. And my boyfriend was out of town, and I had stayed home Friday night. He was out of town all weekend, and I had stayed home Friday night. I did a ton of schoolwork, as many of you know, I'm a teacher. I did a ton of schoolwork because I didn't want to have it hanging over my head the whole weekend. So I was home pretty much all night Friday night. Then I went to rehearsal on Saturday, and I was like, I just don't want to go home and sit home. So you know what I did? I went to a band show. What will I be spending the next, I don't know, 8 or 9 Saturdays doing? Going to band shows. I went to a band show. So what was I doing? I should have just taken the night off. But you know what? It was about a 45-minute ride away from me. And I said, you know what? I'll drive a little bit. I'll clear my head, from rehearsal, take a nice little drive. Plus the show was in Connecticut. And if y'all have ever heard of Frank Pepe Pizza, you got to get a Frank Pepe Pizza. So I said, I'll grab a Frank Pepe Pizza on the way home. I'll take it home. We still have some in the fridge, by the way. But it was really, really cool. And even though this isn't very what are we doing, I'm kind of branching over into Gush and Go a little bit. I have another Gush and Go though. But there was a show that was like you guys are talking about, making Tony was talking earlier about making those moments, and they don't have to be these big expensive moments and these big, whatever. There was a band there, Bunnell High School from Connecticut. I don't know if any of you have ever heard of them. They did a Jimmy Buffett show. And the pit had the little Hawaiian shirts on and, whatever. And the backdrops were all, one was a parrot, one was a picture of Jimmy Buffett, one was something else. Obviously, they kept it school friendly. They didn't play Margaritaville. They didn't do any of that. But they did a couple of his other tunes. And the two props on the sides turned, and one said fins to the left and the other one said fins to the right. And the drum majors turned around and made the whole audience do the fins to. It was adorable. Is it going to be the most competitive show of the year? Probably not. But it was really cute. And like that, the whole time Tony was talking earlier, I was like, that's Bunnell. Take it a little bit of, just making it fun. Super not expensive Hawaiian shirts. The pit was it just was fun. So but still going back to it, what was I doing on my last free Saturday night going to a band show?
Girl, I don't know. It's all right though.
Yeah.
Joey, we're getting to you, bud. What's up?
Well, I think Trish might have just taken my "what are we doing," but what are we doing? Not making time for ourselves. We're talking about we're filling this cup, filling that cup. I got an empty cup. What are we doing? Not taking time for ourselves. And I say that as somebody that did my significant other of 10 years just shared it. I did 16 weeks straight from June, the first week of June, all the way through August. 7 days a week of band.
Oh no!
Drum corps, band camp.
Joey, you gotta take your own advice. What are you doing?
Yeah,
don't do that.
This past Sunday, so yesterday. Yeah, it was yesterday. Yesterday was my first day where I really got to sit down. And Friday night going into Saturday morning, I stayed up all night writing drill for clients that wanted rewrites for their Saturday camp. And if I can do it, I'm going to try to do it. And then I was feeling crummy for my 8 to 8 band camp on Saturday, and I didn't give my best. And then Sunday I wake up and I have a cold and I'm stuffy nosed and I'm headachy and and I'm like, okay, well, I feel like if I would have had the rest that I needed for the day,
1,000%.
I would be feeling better on my first Sunday off, and I could have gone out and enjoyed the day, walked the dog, walked the girlfriend. That's not
grass, get some
But yeah, what are we doing? Not spending time for ourselves.
Right.
We need to start doing that.
That one.
I need
that
doing
one.
That. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, all right. We're going to head over into our next segment called Gush and Go.
Great job, everyone. Set your equipment down. Gush and go.
All right. So I'm actually going to start the Gush and Goes because I have been excited to be, I've been excited to be in my mode for marching band season, and it's finally starts. I don't have another weekend off until I think a week before Thanksgiving, but I prefer it that way. And so anyway, my Gush and Go is I'm finally back in it and in the roll, in the grind, and I'm always excited to see what schools are doing what in what region, but I'm more excited to see if any of the groups that I have judged before have really taken on looking at the sheet, and then bringing that back and asking questions straight off a rubric if possible. I judge in a bunch of different places, so there's different sheets, but I also make sure I have my own sheet and show it to them during the critique. So I'm hoping that we came back a little smarter, but that's my Gush and Go. I can't wait. Let's see. Let's hit it off this way. Ashlee, again, since I haven't seen you, what's your gushing and going about?
My Gush and Go, I'm going to go on about, we just got a new band director this year. He is fresh out of college. Actually, so I've worked with the University of Delaware for the past 3 years. This is the 4th. And those 3 years, he's been in the band. He was just a drum major for the past 2 years. Graduated. Our band director, middle of July, was like, "Hey, I got a new job." And we're like, "Oh, okay, cool." So he's like, does this guy look good? And he pulls up his phone with his Facebook profile of this kid who just graduated. And I'm like, "Yep, perfect, amazing. That'll be great." And it has been. It's been amazing.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah. He's
We like to hear that.
so positive. The kids absolutely love him. He's made my life easier. So
Great.
I think really, really good team. Yeah. And the drill is done. I'm the drill writer. Woohoo. That's done. Thank you, God.
I love everybody's hands went up in the air.
Because we all know how hard it is.
Oh, God.
Do we ever? Okay, well, great. Tony, what are you gushing and going about?
My gush and go, and it's not a right now thing, but it kind of is, is the celebrity that our kids get when they achieve at the highest level. And every year it would, well, my kids at Petal High School would be in the lot at World Class Finals on that Saturday and seeing 500 kids around them from all across the country just wanting to be them. And I just want to go around to them and go, these guys are just a bunch of country kids from Mississippi. Like
No
that's
cap.
who they are, but they put in the work, they put in the effort, they believed in what they were doing for that moment of celebrity where they could be there. And I would just stand back and just watch it. And that was my favorite thing about the WGI activity. And it was our reward. It was what we worked for, at our school. It was to be able to go somewhere else and be somebody and have your hard work pay off in that way where you can just boldly show your talents. I get choked up right now just even thinking about it. And I don't even work there anymore.
But you've left a legacy. A lot of people know that. It almost makes me think of Frozone during The Incredibles when he's like, "Where's my super suit?"
We used to say that. We actually used to say that. The kids would say, "Where's my super suit?"
You tell me why I suit this woman.
In 2018, we had a kid in the snare line that looked exactly like him, and when he put on the costume, the kids would always say, "Where's my super suit?"
Yep. All right. Let's see. Jara, tell us. What are you gushing and going about?
I'm going to gush and go today about the fact that I'm all caught up on choreography for all of my clients. Woohoo! Now, I'm going to get another email tomorrow, I have no doubt, with here's the next sets and here's the next videos, but I am currently caught up, and not just caught up, but I feel really good this year about the product that I'm sending out. Not like other years I'm like, oh, I sent horrible stuff. No, that's not what I mean. But, sometimes you just feel really good about your creative brain at that time. And I feel really good about my creative brain right now. I feel like everything I'm sending out I really enjoy it, and I'm excited to see it on the field as they start sending me videos of their shows. Yeah, that's my I'm excited to be caught up right now.
I love how we all have these post-season glows right now. We should come back when the season's over and be like, how
yeah,
are
I
you?
still have to finish all the closers, but currently we are caught up.
Right. Good. All right, Trish, what are we gushing going about?
All right, so I have to give a shout out to a local high school over here, Bergenfield High School. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of them. So they've had a color guard director there, believe it or not, for 40-something years. And Yeah. And actually, he's Dennis DeLucia's brother, Mike DeLucia. And he was there for 40-something years. And now, like, I'm the OG of Bergen County, but it's all good. It's all good. I was always hanging on to the fact that, like, okay, Mike is still at it. So it's like, it's, I'm still not, up there yet. But now I'm the OG, and it's all good. I wear the crown. It's fine. So, however, he retired. And I know I talked about this a little bit in some of our summer episodes, but I taught a little color guard program at their summer music program for middle schoolers in Bergenfield. So I know a lot of those people. And they were just buzzing all summer about the fact, obviously not that Mike left, but that now was finally their opportunity to, take the program in a different direction. They're coming to our home show on Saturday. The color guard always traditionally wore these long black, like it's a jacket and a black jacket, a long black skirt and a little beanie hat and the high black boots and whatever. And listen, the kids were into it for years. It was fine, whatever. But now, working in the summer music program, I got to meet the new guard director. Her name is Bridget, and she's hitting the ground running, man. And we played them in football Friday night, and I went back there, and they didn't do their show because it was an away game for them. But I said, I'm so excited to see the show next week, and, we able to get new guard costumes. And she's like, oh, yeah, we're wearing black and gold dresses, which is so not Bergenfield. So I'm so excited. I told her when I met her in the summer, I was like, I am so excited for you. I wish I could give you a color guard shower. Like, how cool would that be? A color guard shower. Like,
oh, that's so adorable.
How cute would that be, right?
Those need to be a thing. Make that a thing.
I want to make it a thing. So, she's super excited. I can't wait to see them. I can't wait to report back to you guys about how she said, and I kind of had a feeling from teaching the middle school kids, she said there's been like zero resistance from the kids. No, well, that's how we used to do it, or that's how Mr. DeLucia did it. Like, none of that's happening. So she's in a really good spot. The kids are really enjoying it and loving life, and I can't wait to see their show. So big time shout out to Bergenfield High School.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, oh my goodness, we have reached the end of this rehearsal. I want to thank everyone here for a great rehearsal this week. Trish, Ashlee, Joey. I also want to thank our special guest clinicians, Tony. Thank you so much. Can you just tell us where the great people out there listening to on a water break can find you, as far as your socials are concerned?
I'm an old guy, so I'm on Facebook mostly. You can see me there, or Tony_Lymon on Instagram. And every once in a while, I'll wander on TikTok, and it makes me feel like I'm 90 years old when I get on there. So, but I'm around. If we run into each other, please say hi. I'm a talker, so I love to talk.
Awesome.
Nice. And Jara, where can we find you?
I am also on Instagram. My first name _ my last name, JARA _ Clark, CLARK. Find me on there. I'd love for you to follow me, ask me questions. If you see me at contest days, say hello. I pride myself on trying to memorize names, but if I don't know you, I don't know your name. So tell me your name and let me meet you. So I'd love to meet you and say hello. And thank you so much for having me. I love being here today.
Oh, you're welcome. We'll definitely call on you again. I know it.
Perfect.
Well, one more thing. I just don't want to forget this, but don't forget that we have that YouTube channel now. And it has a lot of our interviews that are coming out as full video editions. So you can go and subscribe. So don't miss those. And before you close out of your podcast, just listening app, just make sure you go and subscribe. Write us a review. Tell us who your favorite host is. But share it with a friend and follow us on social media at On a Water Break. And we'll see you at rehearsal on the next water break.
The On a Water Break podcast was produced by Jeremy Williams and Christine Reams. The intro and outro music was produced by Josh Lyda. To learn more, visit lydamusic.com. And until next time, thanks for tuning in.